But if you got your Bible this morning, I want you to open with me the Song of Solomon, chapter 2. Song of Solomon, chapter 2. Give you a second to get there. Song of Solomon, chapter 2. Read one verse. That's okay. Song of Solomon, chapter 2. Let's read together verse 15. Take us the foxes, the little foxes, that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes. Take us the foxes, the little foxes, little ones, those little foxes that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes. Now, y'all heard me say before from up here, sometimes I'll just say, you got to watch out for those little foxes. And that's where that comes from. This is the verse that comes from. And Mr. Tommy this morning in the Sunday school lesson talked about the little things and how God cares about the little things. Amen. And God does. God cares about every part of your life this morning. Right. Every part. He cares about your work. He cares about your house. He cares about your bank account. He cares about your children. He cares about school. Any and everything that concerns you, God cares about. Amen. He cares. But when I read this verse from Song of Solomon, and it talks about the little foxes that destroy the vine, what I want you to understand this morning, church, is the devil wants to absolutely destroy you. Period. He doesn't like you, no matter what he's told you. He doesn't want you to succeed. He doesn't want you to be happy. And he surely does not want you saved and sanctified and on fire for Jesus. That is what he does not want. A few years ago, and I don't know how many of you remember this, there was a song out that says, "What does the fox say?" Now, show of hands, who remembers that? What does the fox say? Okay. The only reason I ever knew there was a song called "What Does the Fox Say" is Abigail had the shirt. Mary had bought her. It was a big thing then for children. So Abigail cruises into the den one day and she got on a shirt that says, "What does the fox say?" And I said, "I don't know. What did he say?" And she just looked at me, "Daddy." That's how it operates. I mean, but there was a song. So what does the fox say when you read this verse? That he wants to destroy your vineyard, destroy your vine, and destroy your soul. Amen. That's what the little fox wants to do. And that's what he says. Destroy the vine, destroy the vineyard, destroy the vineyard, destroy the vineyard. That's what he says. Many of you know that have lived around here. What can a termite do to wood? A very, very small termite do to wood. Right? Anybody that's been paying attention to the news lately, have you seen the swarm of locusts that are in Africa now? The small locusts. And yet, there are so many of them that when they come together, they darken the sky, they darken the sun out. And they're destroying millions of acres of crops. The little locust, the little fox, the little fox. When I remember being at Mama's one time, Noah had to be probably 2, maybe 3 years old, but Noah was out in the yard, and I was cutting grass. And Mama and Karsten were in the flower beds working, and Noah, just a 2-year-old little boy, you know, he in the middle of any and everything going on. And I was cutting grass, and I stopped, and I went inside, and I got a glass of tea. And y'all, the most unbelievable, blood-curdling scream that you have ever heard in your life comes out of the yard. And how I did not drop my tea, I don't know. I just remember sitting it on the counter and out the door as fast and as hard. And when I hit the steps coming out of Mama's side door, I could see Noah there. Now, the only thing Noah had on was a diaper. He was outside. It was warm. It was hot. And Noah had on a diaper. And he was in the middle of a fire at 84 days. And you know, 2-year-old little boy, it looked good to him to jump in. So he jumped in. Well, before I could get to know Mama, and I'll never forget this, how she grabbed him up and took that diaper off at the same time without ever stopping. That's a mama, a grandma. But she did. She got a hold of Noah. She took that diaper off and she ran him over to where the water hose was. And she cut the water off and she just began to spray Noah down from head to toe. But y'all, what was amazing to me is how fast those little ants covered Noah's body. Something that small. Now, thank goodness, Mama got to him quick enough and got the water hose off that they didn't make it up past his midsection. But from the bottom of his feet up, both legs, almost all the way to the middle here, they were covering him. Just that quick. How can something that small move that fast? How can something that small just all of a sudden move? Little foxes will be on you that quick, church, when you allow them to get into your vineyard. When you allow them to get into your vineyard. You ever picked up a pecan and it had that one tiny little teeny hole in it that you can't even hardly see, but you barely see that? The pecan's ruined. It's ruined. That pecan isn't any good, Brother Nim. Throw it away. Throw it in the ditch. It's not any good. It's not any good. It's the little foxes that will destroy the vine, church. The little foxes. Sin often begins small. Then suddenly we are enslaved. Did you hear what I just said? Sin often begins very small, and then suddenly we are its slave. It's controlling us. We're not controlling it. That's how sin often begins in our lives. Anybody ever build a fire and all of a sudden the wind kicked up? It'll be gone from you before you know it. That's the way sin operates. That's the way these little foxes operate in our lives. We think we've got it, and we think we've got it under control, and all of a sudden, before we know it, it's gotten away from us, and it controls us instead of us controlling it. Little foxes. It's the little foxes, church. The little foxes. The little foxes unchecked. Listen carefully. Make our Christian walk ineffective. The little foxes unchecked will make our Christian walk ineffective. It's that person that walks around that has the form of godliness but denies the power thereof. Because the little foxes have got into the vine. They're gnawing away. They're chewing. They're constantly nipping. They're at you constantly. You better deal with those little foxes, church. You better deal with them now. You better deal with them today. The little foxes can grow into big foxes. And that's where you probably really get bad then. You remember what Jesus said about the bread? He said a little leaven will leaven the whole loaf. Did you hear me? A little bit of leaven, and that whole loaf of bread will be leavened when you pull it out. That's the way sin operates in you, church. You let that little bit go past and just go by and everything's all right, and the next thing you know, you're eaten up. You eat up. Those little foxes, they grow. They get big. There was a story that in London, there was a nice section in rows of houses, and sometimes those houses, they would lock them, and they would lock the windows on them. But there was always a place, there was a little window that was usually about between 8 and 10 feet up, that people would leave open where a little air could get into the house. But it was between 8 and 10, and it was a small window. Wasn't a big window. It was small. Wasn't like a normal window at our house. Okay, it's probably about like this. But just enough for air to get through. Well, people were coming home and finding out they had been robbed. Everything had been taken out of the house, and no windows were broken. The doors were opened. They were not broken in. No locks broken. And nobody could figure out what was going on. Well, eventually they come to find out that 3 or 4 older men were doing all the stealing, and they took a little boy with them whenever they went. And they would lift the little boy up, and he could fit through the little window. And he would go into the house, and he would unlock the door, and then all the rest would go in and just clean the house out. That's how the little foxes operate. Those little foxes, they find that one little spot on you, brother, and then they open the whole thing up. They find that one little window, that one little weak area in our lives, and they begin to operate. They begin to go to work. They begin to try to find, oh yeah, we got it. And then the next thing you know, that one little window, the whole house is wide open. The whole house. Y'all with me out there? Amen. I start preaching loud. Glory! Amen. Y'all know it's going to come out with us over anyway. So, those little windows, church. It's the little sins. Listen to me carefully this morning. It's the little sins, the small faults, the self-indulgence, listen, that we overlook. That we let go. That we count as trifles. We just look past them. And they become careless prayers. What's a careless prayer? A prayer you might as well keep your mouth shut. That's what it is. That's what it is. Idle words. Idle words. Those little foxes, they bring idle words. And Jesus said we're going to give account for every idle word we speak. Amen. Every idle word we speak, we'll give that curse word that slips out. Come on now. Whoa! He's trifling now. Come on. Amen. Come on. Preach it. You know that little curse word that slips out every now and then, right? We all know about that, huh? We all know about that. Glory to God. Come on now. Come on. That little fox. That little fox. Well, I didn't mean to say that. Repent.
That's right.
It has never ceased to amaze me, and I don't understand it, what anybody in this world thinks that throwing one of those words into a conversation helps that conversation.
Amen.
Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. My daddy could cuss. He was a champion. Ain't no other way to say it. He got mad, my daddy could cuss. And I can remember sitting there, and sometimes, you know, it scared me. Sometimes I'd laugh at it. I remember, what did it add? What did it add to anything? Nothing. But those curse words, how about this, church? How about that dusty Bible? Little foxes. Little foxes. Man, when's the last time I picked that up? When's the last time I picked that up? You know, maybe it's, well, you know, it's all right. It ain't but one time a month. Ain't but one time a month, Brother Dim. I go and play golf on Sunday morning instead of going to church. Little foxes. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, church. That once a month is going to suddenly become twice a month. And you know what that little fox is going to tell you, right? What does the little fox say? It's all right. You going twice a month. You going half the month. You going a lot more than a bunch of other people. And then twice a month becomes 3 hours. And I'm just using golf as an example. I'm not throwing off on golf. I'm just using that as an example. But that's how the little foxes operate. That's what they do, church. That's how they operate. They are the enemies of our soul. Those little foxes. They are the enemies of our soul. We must be vigilant, church. It is the little foxes, listen to me, that sow tares. It is the little foxes that sow the tares that trouble the soul and trouble the church. The little foxes that sow the tares that trouble your soul. Matthew chapter 13. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Listen carefully. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Church, you are the good seed. God has planted the good seed in you. You are springing up and springing forth. And He's looking for a great harvest out of you and out of this church. But if we allow that enemy to slip in the night and sow those tares, let me tell you what's coming. We'll never be what God called us to be. Amen. The little foxes destroy the vine. I knew it was coming. Glory to God. Don't you let those little foxes get into your house. Don't you let those little foxes get into your workplace. Don't you let those little foxes get into our church and sow those tares. Amen. Don't do it, church. Don't you let those little foxes get to your children. Don't do it. Don't do it. Vines that promise an abundant harvest. Spoil. And I know most of you, you've planted tomato bushes, and you planted squash, and you planted other things around your house, and maybe had a little garden, and boy, that thing's looking good. It's growing. Ron, that thing, ooh, I can't wait to get hold of that tomato when that thing's ripe. And you roll out there one morning, and they got holes all through it. And it's sitting there drooping. And you sitting there like, y'all, I seen my mama one day. Mama used to plant a huge garden behind our house. I mean, Mama planted butter beans, Mama planted peas, Mama planted cucumbers, Mama planted tomatoes, Mama, you name it, Mama about planted. Okay? Well, I was sitting there one day, and I think I had just got home from school, or maybe it was getting later in the evening. I can't remember. But Mama come walking through the den, and y'all, I'm telling you, she sounded like Granny Clamp. Like Granny Clamp. Ah! That's all I heard. And I seen Mama take off. And I mean, it shook me up. I was like, what in the world is going on? And boy, I got up behind Mama, and I'm running behind Mama. And Mama turned that corner straight to the backyard where her garden was. There were 2 deer out there. And I thought Mama was going to take both of them out. I tell you, how they outrun her to this day, I ain't real sure, because she was moving. I couldn't keep up with her. That's how diligent we need to be over our souls.
Amen. Amen.
That's how diligent we need to be over our souls, church. The very minute you see one of those little foxes, show up. You run him, and you run him just as hard as you can run him. Not today, Mr. Fox. That's what I say. That's what I say. Amen. 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 Praise the Lord. In Palestine, where Solomon lived at the time this was written, the foxes that they had were not like the foxes we have here. They were like the foxes we have here, but they were about half the size of our foxes. That's why he called them the little foxes. They were about half the size of the foxes that we see around in this area here. They were small. They were still foxes, but they were small. Now here's the thing, church. Listen to me. The foxes were so small that they could not reach the grapes that the vine was producing. That is why they destroyed the vine. If they destroyed the vine, the grapes would fall. Did you hear what I just said? If they destroyed the foundation.
Amen. Well, come on, brother.
Oh, glory. Yeah. Hallelujah. Come on, brother. Hallelujah. If they destroyed the foundation of the grapes would fall. And then they could eat all they wanted. Right. They could eat all they wanted. Now I say that because who does the Bible tell us is the vine? Jesus Christ is the vine. The Bible says that Jesus is the vine. Listen to me carefully, church. If you don't hear anything else I tell you this morning, you hear this. Jesus Christ is our vine. He is the vine. Okay? The little foxes go after the vine. Why? Because the little foxes want to destroy every bit of the Jesus Christ that is within you.
Amen. Amen.
What glory. Think maybe we better deal with the little foxes, eh? I think, church, maybe we better deal with the little foxes. Because that's what they're after. That's what they're after. They're after every bit of the Jesus Christ that is in you. They want to destroy that vine. They want what is in you. They want that destroyed. They want to take your prayer life and reduce it to nothing. They don't want you to pray, church. The devil gets scared when you fall on your knees and you mean business with God. I ain't talking about, well, bless me today, God. I'm talking about getting down to business.
Amen.
He don't want no part of that. He don't want any part of that. And I don't know why I feel to say this, but I'm going to say it this morning. Tithing. He don't want you tithing. Why? Because you're blessed when you tithe. Let me tell you something else. You read Malachi chapter 3. Tithing will keep the little foxes away too.
Amen.
That's what it says. You don't believe me? Read it yourself. You want me to preach it? I'll preach it. Tithing, what did it say? It will not cast its fruit before its season. He who pays his tithe.
Amen.
Come on now. Well, what does the fox say, Brother Dim? You don't need to pay them tithe. You got, man, look, think what you can do with that money. Think what you can do. You need that boat. Bless God. You need it. Medley now. Bless God. Let's amen. Don't worry about paying them tithes. You need that money. You do. Look, think what you can do with that money. There's a lot you can do with that money. I can't do as much with it as God can. Well, glory. That's a message right there. Come on. Come on. Come on. You want to ask me about it after church? Ask me. It's okay. I promise you it is. I won't get mad with you. I want them little foxes gone. I want them gone out of your life. I want them gone out of my life. Let's get rid of the little foxes. Amen. Amen. The little foxes, listen to me, will destroy the unity and the love of the church. Because those little foxes are going to get in your ear, Miss Dad, and say, well, did you hear what the lame did? Come on, brother. Come on! Little foxes. Little foxes. Come on! And then the lame's going to say, well, I heard what that Miss Beth said about me. And I see her in church. Bless God.
Come on.
We get that thing straightened out, ain't Brother D?
Right.
Glory to God. That's right. Come on. Come on. Did y'all hear what Chuck was doing down there at Southern Distributor? Man, he's having them poker games in the back every year.
Hallelujah.
And I heard they bringing Budweiser in by the kid. Now we all know that's a lie. But all it takes is one person to get a hold of something like that. One little fox. And they run with it, church. They run with it. They run with it. They run with it. And the next thing you know, nobody in the church might believe it. But those people down there, that church down there, boy, you don't want to go to that church. You want to hear what's going on down there. And they ain't got a clue. Little foxes. Little foxes, church. Little foxes. Oh, glory. I'm going to have time, because I ain't through. Let's real quickly, let's talk about the little foxes in Scripture a little bit. Now, let's talk about Moses for a second. Now, Moses had to put up with them hard-headed Jews he brought out of Egypt. They complained the whole time. Every time Moses turned around, they didn't have nothing to eat. Then they didn't have meat. Then they didn't have water. Brought them out so we can bury us in the desert. We've been better off with it. That's like, listen, church, you talk about little foxes constantly snapping at you, nipping at your heels, and constantly trying to just aggravate the mud out of you. And you know what? Now listen to me, church. Those foxes stayed after Moses so long, till finally God said, go speak to the rock and tell it to bring water. And they just kept nipping at Moses and nipping at Moses and nipping at Moses until he struck the rock. In anger, that one little fox of anger finally called up with Moses. And Moses had to let Joshua take that bunch into the promised land.
That's it.
The Bible's full of good men battling little foxes, battling little foxes, battling little foxes. Let me tell you about another man. He had a little fox, and you know what he named that fox? It was named Delilah. Now, you know, Samson, God gives Samson a lot of leeway. I mean, Samson, look, he was tearing gates down off the cities and dragging them around and killing 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass. Let me tell you something, Samson was a bad man.
That's right.
But he had one little fox he let stay around.
That's all it is.
And she just kept asking him one question. One question, that's all. Constantly, constantly, constantly badgering him, badgering him, badgering him. What's the secret of your strength? What's the secret of your strength? And he'd sit there and he'd tell her this and he'd tell her that. The little fox just kept coming back to church. Until finally, the little fox won. He broke. He broke. He broke. The little fox broke him down. The little fox broke him down. There was Noah. Noah, I want you to build me an ark. It's the rain. Now, they ain't never seen rain before. They ain't never seen rain. But it's going to rain. The Bible says that Noah went out there and he started cutting timber. He started putting together an ark. And what did those people, what did those little foxes do? What are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Rain? Flood? And I'm going to tell you something. That one time the little foxes didn't win, did they? Glory to God. Because I'm going to tell you something about them little foxes. When God himself shut that door to that ark, guess where them little foxes were? Amen. Let it rain. Let it rain, Lord. I could go on and on. We can talk about Peter. Fear got the best of Peter. Peter, it hadn't been just a few hours earlier. He looked at Jesus and he said, if the rest of them you leave you, I'll never leave you. I'll go with you to the dead. And then just a few hours later, here comes that little fox. When they looked at him and said, now what, you with him? And that little fox whispered in his ear and said, tell him you don't know the man.
That's right.
I don't know the man. Little foxes, church. They're dangerous. And they will kill your soul. They will kill your soul. The church is God's vineyard. Listen to me. And God himself, the Bible says, is the husbandman. He is the keeper of that vineyard. Little foxes cannot enter this vineyard unless we allow them. Little foxes cannot come into this vineyard. Why do you think the Bible says, guard your heart with all diligence? For out of it come the issues of life. Because those little foxes are constantly snapping around your heels, church. Anybody that's a Christian, those little foxes are constantly there, and they're constantly trying to eat at the vine. Constantly, constantly, constantly. Little foxes unchecked will multiply. You hear what I say? Little foxes unchecked will multiply until they overrun your vineyard. That's what they'll do. What does the fox say? What does the fox say? I love these verses. You don't turn there because I'm about to close. But in Luke chapter 13, you have an interesting conversation with Jesus and the Pharisees here. Now I want you to listen to what Jesus said. The same day there came certain of the Pharisees, saying unto him, Get thee out, and depart hence, for Herod will kill thee. And listen to Jesus' answer. And he said unto them, Go ye, and tell that fox, Behold, I cast out devils, and I do cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. Go tell that fox. Church, it is time for us, it is time for you to stand up and tell that fox.
Amen.
You can't have my family. You can't have my job. You can't have my finances. You can't have my children. You can't have my soul. And you can't have my church.
Amen. Amen.
Go tell that fox.
Amen.
Go tell him. Go tell him. Amen.
Amen.
What is your answer today, church? What is your answer? What is your answer? I'm going to tell you what you need to do today. I'm going to tell you what you do with these little foxes. First thing I want you to understand is you need to pull out the double barrel. This right here. That's the Old Testament and the New Testament. That's the double barrel right there. Okay? Then I want you to take that double barrel and I want you to get those two double-shot shells that Jesus Christ has given us from the book of Revelation. He said because they overcame by the word of their testimony shall one, and the blood of the Lamb shall two.
Yes.
And then you close that thing up. And when that joker gets anywhere near anything that belongs to you, you open up on him. It is the little foxes that destroy the vine, church, as you stand. Take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vine. For our vine have tender grapes. With heads bowed this morning. How about it this morning? You dealing with any little foxes? Are you dealing with any little foxes in your life this morning? Those little foxes, they grow. That sin that you thought that you had gotten rid of and had under control, it's the one that controls you now. And you need to get rid of that little fox. You need to get rid of that little fox. It's like the addict, church. The addict that says, I just need it one more time. 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 That little fox is never going to stop coming until you get rid of the little fox. It'll never stop coming until you get rid of the little fox. With heads bowed this morning. If you're here this morning, you don't know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you have no defense against the little foxes. Unless you have a mom and a daddy that's praying, or somebody that's close to you that's calling your name in prayer. But you yourself need to be washed in that blood. Delivered. Set free. And nobody but Jesus Christ can do that. Nobody can deal with those little foxes like Jesus. See, church, He is the vine. Those little foxes surrounded Him one time, and they tore Him, and they cut Him, and they beat Him, and they trampled Him until they finally killed Him. And those little foxes thought they had the victory. What those little foxes didn't understand was resurrection power. Jesus wasn't dead. He was sleeping. Oh, He died. Don't misunderstand me now. Don't take that the wrong way. But but he was coming back. Would you come this morning? Would you come this morning? You don't know him as Lord and Savior. Would you come? Deal with those little foxes this morning. Deal with those little foxes in your life. Today is the day to begin. Today is the day of salvation. Today. Right now. Would you come?